Debbie with Kip's Corner. Welcome back. And if you are new, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm super excited to share Something Buggy Green and Something Buggy Blue. These are the two journals that I've just completed, and they are my first creative design team project for Tracie Fox Creative. Tracie is LoveJunkJournals on Etsy, and she has, I've always been a huge fan of Tracie's, and she has some of the coolest digital papers, digital journal pages, digital kits, ephemera kits, that kind of thing. And if you're not familiar with her, please go check her out. Anyway, I am honored to now be a part of the creative design team. And so this is my first project. The primary kit that I used is called the Bug Book, but I used, I think, a total of 4 or 5 different kits of Tracie's, and so I'll try to point those out. Whether I can remember their names or exactly what kit they were from or not, there's links below to all of them, all of the kits that I used. So I've also included links below to Tracie's YouTube channel, her Etsy shop, and her Facebook group, as well as the YouTube channel of all of the other creative design team members. So be sure and check them out if you haven't already. There's just a really, just an awesome group of talented people, and it's, like I said, it's truly an honor to be among them. So without further ado, let's just dive in. There are 2 journals here because if you saw one of my first videos, I kind of mentioned that I didn't know which direction to go in. I had 2 different ideas in my head for a cover, and ended up doing them both. So we've got greens and gold, greens, browns, and golds, and we've got blues, creams, and silver. So we'll call them Something Buggy Green, which I'll do next, and Something Buggy Blue. Something Buggy Blue is a little bit more feminine. We've got this butterfly on the front. This is a resin. I have a resin mold. It's from Zuri Designs, and I poured the resin, and then this is a Metallique wax on top. This is a chipboard with modeling paste, with slate wax and silver wax on top there. And then this is a chipboard piece with the flowers and a metal piece here. I've got metal corners on all 4 corners in silver. And then the fabric, I just left the side and the back plain because I just loved this fabric so much. It's a Tim Holtz fabric, and it's just gorgeous. So, and then the closure is a nub, what's called a hitch post. A hitch post closure, can't talk. You just push down, pop this off, and that way you don't have to untie the bow. But if you get thicker or thinner with the contents of your book, of course, you can always untie it and adjust it, untie it and switch it out for a different sari or a different ribbon. So easy to change. All right, let's dive in. In the front, I have, this is just the corner piece of I think it was actually a napkin. It's a little bit bigger than a normal handkerchief, but the fabric was kind of like a handkerchief, but I think it was a napkin. Anyway, it's an older piece here, and I've got a little dangle, and this says beautiful on the dangle. And then in here, I just have an oversized journaling card, and this is from Tracie's kit called Impressions. And just a little bit of a collaging on there, and then on the back, I've got this ripped up painter's masking paper on the back, so you can still write on it, but it is a little bit lumpy, which is cool. Lumpy bumpy. And just a little butterfly card there. This journal has 5 signatures in it, and the first page of each signature is from the Bug Book, and I've waxed them. They have a layer, they have a coating of beeswax on them, but it's soaked into the paper, heated into the paper, and so this is smooth. And you also have a little bit of a translucency with it, so it creates this translucent page. And I just got a little trim on the edge that's been sewn on. Lots of blank pages in here, tea-dyed paper, a little bit of stenciling on some of it just to add some texture. The paper kit that I used, or the paper pad that I used, is from 49 in Market, and it is gorgeous, and so those are in here as well. Here's a little pocket with a little heat embossed emblem, also from Impressions, and this has just got some crackle paste on it, a little bit of sewing. A little tag in here. This has some, it's a glass bead medium, so there's a cool texture to this, just right on the inside of these butterflies. I don't know if that's catching in the light or not, but just a little tag there. That's from another one of Tracie's kits, but I don't remember which one that's from. Some glassine paper, some vintage ledger paper. This is from a bug book that I had. It's got these gorgeous drop caps, and so I've just got that there in the center page, and it's lined with some fabric. And ledger paper, glassine paper. This is a little tag that I made. It's just a collage here with the different pieces. The small tag here in the back is from the bug book, and then just some other pieces and a little metal bug there. And this is cardstock, and it's nice and pretty plain on the back so that you can write on it. And I've just got that clipped with a little Tim Holtz clip. Here's another collage. This paper in the background is from another one of Tracie's kits called Tattered Paint. She has a set 1 and a set 2, and I have both of them. There's a little bit of embossing on this label here, and some sewing, and some cheesecloth, and some die cut. And so just a little collage. And then that is the first signature here on the tail end. Whoops, I think these two are, there we go. And the tail of the lace on the edge here, I've got a little butterfly hanging from a bulb pen. More tea-dyed paper. Here's a little pocket that there's just a little beekeeper card in. And this pocket is also from a different kit of hers. So, but I don't remember which one. I'm sorry. And then there's just a little cluster here. This is a piece of the spine of an old book. After I gutted it, I pulled the spine, you know, that glue that's on the spine. I pulled that off, and I ended up with a bunch of little pieces that I've used throughout both of these journals, actually, as a part of the collage. I've used it, you know, who you can look up. Purple Cottage Crafts. Abby has a video on using different things as washi tape, and I think that idea I got from Abby in that video where she uses that as like a washi tape. So that's what I've done here. And some parchment paper. And this is also from one of Tracie's kits, and I think it's from the entomologist, the entomologist notebook. And I've just shrunk the pages down so that they were a little smaller. And then this is from a butterfly book that I have. Isn't that pretty? And there's the back side of that entomologist book. More bugs, more parchment paper. And here's another little cluster. And I'll bring this up a little bit closer so you can see. I've used more of that spine piece. And this is part of the header from the book. This is just a little frame. This butterfly has it's like a glass bead medium. So it gives us this nice texture and a little bit of shine. Then back here, this is a piece of vellum with alcohol ink on top, dripped on top. And then more from the spine of that book. So I just created a little cluster there. And just a little stenciling and some stamping periodically on some of those pages. And there's the end of the second signature, the beginning of the third. And again, all of these pages are waxed, and so you can kind of see through them a little bit. More tea-dyed paper, more glassine paper. This is just an old piece of tea-dyed paper, and another page from the notebook. A little bit of fabric sewn on there. That's actually a piece of sari silk sewn on there. This is, and look, I sewed it crooked, which is, you know, that's me. This is a vintage ophthalmologist, I don't know what they're called, lens, when they're testing your eyesight from many years ago. And I've just got that sitting on top of a little butterfly from the bug book. And then just a circle here, and this has a texture, a clear texture medium on the top of that. More from the 49 and Market paper. Here's another little cluster here with some more of that paper from the spine. More bugs, more plain paper. So I try to keep a lot of blank sheets in here so that they can actually be journaled in. So there's plenty of room for journaling or for adding things like photos. You could put a photo here, for example. I've added a little stamp and a little bit of stenciling on that, but it's very subtle, not a lot. Here's another bug. There you go. It's got some of that spine washi. We'll call it spine washi. This is another page from my butterfly book. That's another page from the notebook. And here's just another fabric, and this has a little dragonfly hanging from it. And a little pocket here. There's not a ton of pockets in here, just a couple, just to put a few little things. This is a little, sort of like a seed packet envelope from the notebook, and this is a journal card from another kit of Tracie's. More paper. And then that's the next. This is the end of the 4th and the beginning of the 5th signature. We've got more glassine paper here, more ledger paper, more tea-dyed paper. Here's another little cluster, and this is a piece of fabric. It's got this I guess it's a bee, that I've just sewn the top of and created this little baby mini fabric flip there. And here's another collage. This has crackle paste behind it with inks on it, just some sewing, another bug, and just some pieces of paper. I actually think, the paper back here in the back is from Tattered Paint. This is from that butterfly book. And then here's just another little pocket and this is almost like a bookmark, but it's just like a big skinny tag. This is called a signal, this little piece on top. It's a metal piece, vintage metal piece that was used. You would signal where somebody's signature should be. You would clip that on the edge of the paper. And so it makes a nice little pull tab. Some more fabric, and then we've got another little, that's another bee there on the bee charm on there. And we're to the end. And in the back, I have just laying in here. It's too big for the pockets, but this is one of the mixed media tags that I've made. There's modeling paste on here on the bottom. This is a piece of paper from the Tattered Paint. And then I used that same slate blue wax that I used on the front. It was over white, so it's a lot lighter color. This is the Perspective Moth die from Tim Holtz. And I've used a Seth Apter's, one of his embossing powders on top. So it's just got a neat effect. And that's the end in another pocket. This is the rest of the napkin from the front, but the lace part was just on the corner. And so this is just the back half of it and where the edging was. It's a really pretty piece. And this is lined on the inside with fabric rather than paper. And so there's a fabric inside front and back covers. So that's it. That is Something Buggy Blue. See if I can get that on there correctly. There we go. Something Buggy Blue. These are, let me measure them. They're the same size. Oh, I think Something Buggy Green is about 1/4 of an inch taller. But this is 7.5, I should do that right, width first. 4.5 wide by 7.5 tall. And the spine is roughly 1.5 inches. It's a great size, like for your hands. I just love this size because you could carry this with you just about anywhere. So let me set that aside. And let me back up. With this journal will come this tag. It doesn't fit really well inside the journal because it's dimensional, but this is a metal butterfly. And these little curly cues here are springs from a watchmaker's repair cabinet. So they're watch springs that I just opened up and glued down. There is rice paper in the background and some distressed glaze, which is kind of translucent, and some beeswax embossing powder from Seth After over here on this side. And so there's just it's got some neat textures, and then it's backed with some tea dyed paper. So that goes together as one. The second book is same size. Let's see, I thought it was 4.5. I thought it was a little different. Yeah, it's about, no, it's pretty much the same. 4.5, never mind. 4.5 wide by 7.5 tall, with 1.5 inches spine. And this is a faux suede fabric cover. And again, I left the back and the spine plain on this. I just felt like that just really worked well. I've got metal corners, and these are in a sort of a vintage gold color. The front this is another mold, resin mold that I poured the bee from the same company, from Zuri Designs, and then with gold wax on top. And then this is just a cluster. The idea here, I don't know if it came through or not, but the idea was that the bee was flying out of the garden. And the garden is made up of a bunch of different metal pieces that I've just put a solid coverage of black gesso on, and then gold wax paste so that they all look like they're the same color, but there's metal flowers and leaves and doodads and circle pieces. This is a knob. There's a little pin nib there. There's a little ladybug there crawling out of the garden. And then the back is, there's some crackle paste on here and some stenciling and just lots of texture going on this one. Okay, on the inside, it also has pockets on the inside, front and back cover. And this has a little dangle that says Wander on it. And then the tag for this one is in the front, and it's the same perspective moth die from Tim Holtz. It's just very different, colored very differently. And same texture and all that. So that's got a greenish background. Here's another one of those butterflies under the optometrist testing lens, eye exam lens thingy, one of those. And then this is a different paper pad from 49 and Market. Now in this one, it also has 5 signatures. And the first page of each signature, I've used the 49 and Market pad, and then there's, well, you'll see. But then the bug book pages from Tracie's kit are interspersed throughout the journal. Just a little envelope clipped here with a baby paper clip. And again, I tried to use get a lot of plain pages in here for journaling. More fabric, more glassine paper, and here's the first page. And you can see the difference. These pages are all printed out. Let me show you the difference. These are all printed out on the same paper. And you can see the difference here. I think you can see the difference. And this does not have the wax on it, and this one is waxed. So you can see that wax gives it a softer, almost a little bit more of a vintage kind of beeswax colored look to it, whereas these are brighter. And then I've backed them just with a page from a digital kit, just to nicely light colored so that you can still journal on them. This journal also does have pages in it from my butterfly book. Pretty. And it also has the ledger pages. And then again, there are clusters throughout, collages, little mini collages throughout that use that pieces from the spine and some die cuts and some labels. Lots of journaling space. And here's another collage. This is very similar to the one in the other book where this background here is vellum with alcohol ink on top. And then you've got die cuts. I think those die cuts, a lot of them are from Tim Holtz's pack, like a Field Notes die cuts. And then these are pieces from that spine. That was all of the pieces in here are from one book, the spine from one book. So you can get a lot of mileage out of it. And then this has a little dangle on it with a key and a lock. Here's a pocket made the same way as the other one, and another one of those tags with, see if I can get that up there. There you go. You can see that sheen, and when you feel it, there's a bumpy texture, and that is they're little glass beads. It's a glass bead medium. And more from the Bug book. And then here is, again, I have these smaller pages in here from the Entomologist Notebook, and another page from, this is the letter B, and the other one was the letter A from an older Bug book that I had. So you can tell I put the insides of these, other than the front page of the signature, the insides of these are pretty much the same. There's not that much difference in them. They both have one of these tags, and they're, they're a little different. They both have the larger mixed media tag. They both have clusters throughout, et cetera, et cetera. And here's a pocket in here just with some pieces, some journaling pieces, some cards in here. All from, not, the back one's not, but these two smaller pieces are from other journals of Tracie's, other kits of Tracie's. Little cluster there. And so, more from the Bug book. That was not Bug book, it's a butterfly book. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous book. There you go. And here's another one of those larger journaling cards. So pretty much whenever I made something, I made two. And this is also from Impressions, and it's got the same painter's masking paper on the back. And then there's also little fabric swatches down the sides of these. Here's a, whoops, he's stuck on there. There's a little dragonfly charm, a little bit of stamping and stenciling. And then here's a big cluster. This is some cardboard, butterfly die cut. There's some sewing on here. Paper in the back is from the Tattered Paint Kit. There's a little bit of stamping on here. And more blank tea-dyed paper, parchment paper. And again, just some little, just little pieces here and there added in subtle places, I think. Okay. Here's another one. And that's, again, another piece from that spine. So like I said, you get a lot of mileage out of one. Here's a bigger collage. There's little tags from the Bug book. There's some book page back there and some random die cuts and pieces, some cheesecloth, a little bit of sewing. This also has a little label on it that has been embossed on top, so it's got a sheen to it. And then some more stenciling and a little bit of stamping in there. More of the glassine, ledger paper, tea-dyed paper. And here's another little collage, mini collage, baby collage. More fabric. And in the back half. And then this has a pocket in the back with a little tag on it. And that tag has that same glass bead medium on it. I don't know, there we go. You can see that sheen there. And then another little card back here with another one of those little signals. And I think that's the end. There's also a pocket in the back here. And that is, now on this one, I opted not to put a closure on it because it really sits nicely without it. And again, it's a nice size. And so you can, I will, when I send this out to whoever becomes the owner, I'll wrap some seam binding around this just so that it closes nicely, and then you can, of course, keep it on or not. So that's that. This one comes with this tag, and this is a butterfly made from another one of my molds, a resin mold that I poured, and that's just bunch of different colors of wax paste, and then gold across the whole thing. Some modeling paste down here at the corner, and this is rice paper in the background from Stamperia, and just a little bit of coloring on the edge, and that's the mixed media tag that will come with the green Something Buggy. So we have, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I've certainly had a fun time making these. It's fun to sort of play in the dirt, right, with the bugs. And I think that nature is a beautiful thing, and so bugs don't freak me out. I tried to keep them, you know, not too creepy. so hopefully they're elegant Something Buggy journals. These will be available on my Etsy shop, unless there's interest prior to me getting them posted, but I will post them. Well, actually, I'll post them at the same time that I upload this video. So if you're watching this video, then they have been added to my Etsy shop, and that link will also be below. So be sure to expand the description box below. There's a ton of links in there. Again, to Tracie's shop and her YouTube channel and her Facebook group and the rest of the design team members, as well as the listings for these two journals in my Etsy shop. And that's it. So project 1 under my belt. Yay. I feel like this huge sense of accomplishment. So I'm, like I said, I'm really excited. I'm thrilled to have gotten them completed, and I am really, really pleased with the way they turned out, and I hope you enjoyed them as well. So thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. If you're watching this video and you're not a subscriber, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I will be back soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.